Supreme Court says CBI has allowed 6 additional cases to be filed on the builder bank Nexus, where lakhs of people are still waiting for their homes to come to their hand, but are being pushed to pay EMIs even without receiving their homes. So big justice coming in their way. We will take you through that news. And finally, we're looking at in Telangana, the food department there cracking down on all unhygienic restaurants, and we see pizza chains extensively under scanner. Multiple pizza chains, be it Domino's, Pizza Hut and whatnot. They found unhygienic conditions and warnings have been sent out. We will show you images of that as well. As always, I start with the headlines first. Mallikarjun Kharge alleges vote theft and systematic erosion of democracy, linking Modi government's rule to disenfranchisement of the poor and minorities. Says Bihar 2025 elections could mark the beginning of the end of Modi government's corrupt rule. India slamming the Pakistan delegation at UN, urged Pakistan to focus on its economy and human rights instead of harboring terrorists, while calling for vacating Indian territory under illegal occupation. Mohammad Yusuf Qatari, 26-year-old, who aided Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, killed in Operation Mahadev. In fact, we hear he's been arrested by the Srinagar police. Operation Mahadev eliminated 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists who were involved in the Pahalgam terror attacks. Karnataka High Court dismisses X's challenge to government takedown orders issued via Sayog portal, ruling that social media platforms must comply with Indian laws and constitutional speech rights apply only on citizens. Karnataka state bars all official foreign trips until 2025 for state officers after they failed to submit reports from previous tours. Future travel proposals allowed only after detailed study reports are filed. Kerala BJP to be visiting 50 lakh households from September 25th under the Griha Sambarka Yojana ahead of local body polls in Kerala. We're looking at the BJP really pushing out their team and trying to bring in as many enrollments to the BJP in Kerala as much as possible, highlighting left-right front governance crisis and presenting development plans for the people of Kerala. Telangana High Court suspends state approval for increased ticket rates for the film OG gangster action film starring Pawan Kalyan ahead of its September 25th release. Next hearing now set for October 9th. Production house had requested a ticket price hike ahead of the release. And Kremlin dismisses Donald Trump's claims that Ukraine can reclaim all lost territory. Russia has said US President's shift in stance was influenced and mistaken after meeting Zelensky. One dead and several injured as a shooter opens fire at the Dallas Immigration and Customs Enforcement Field Office. In fact, the shooter dies from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Preliminary information there suspects that the shooter was a possible sniper. All right, let me start with our top story. The big story that grabbed headlines across today was Ladakh. Leh Ladakh protests that turned violent. 5 years of peaceful protests in Ladakh have today exploded into violence. At least 4 people were killed and over 50 injured when a shutdown call in Leh spiraled out of control. Protesters clashed with the police, as we saw. They've torched a BJP office there and even set on fire one of the police CRPC vans. They even set on fire one of the police vans there. Security forces had to fire tear gas shells and use batons to disperse those crowds. But it seems like the anger only spiraled, with 4 people finally dying in these protests. The anger was born out of a long struggle though. Ladakh has been demanding statehood for at least 5 years since the abrogation of Article 370. It all began in 2019 after Article 370 was scrapped. Ladakh was carved out of Jammu and Kashmir and made a union territory then. But unlike Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh got no legislature, no local government. All decisions were left to the centre. For many Ladakhis, this means that they have no say in their own future. At least for the last 5 years, they say it's been a struggle for them. The second big demand is inclusion under the 6th schedule of the Constitution. This is what they want, and what does this really mean? It basically gives tribal regions, for example, in states like Assam and Meghalaya, the 6th schedule amendment there gives them their own councils with powers over land, jobs and local governance. And in Ladakh, 97% of the people there are tribals. This safeguard could only protect them with their identity, their land and the fragile ecology. Now, the protests intensified after climate activist Sonam Wangchuk's hunger strike that entered the 15th day. We hear the protest turned violent because at least 15 of his supporters who were also fasting with him collapsed and they were rushed to hospitals. Young protesters, out of anger, then poured out on the streets with rage. Wangchuk himself then finally had to end the fast, appealing for the people there to calm down and not end and kill the 5 years of effort that they've put in to ensure statehood for that region. In fact, Wangchuk calls this a Gen Z revolution. He says this protest is born out of years of joblessness, frustration and broken promises. But he's also urged the youth not to undo years of peaceful struggle with violence and to ensure peaceful protests. Here's what he said.
आज पूरे लेह में बंद की घोषणा की गई और फिर युवा पीढ़ी हजारों की संख्या में बाहर आ गए। कुछ लोग सोचते हैं कि ये हमारे समर्थक थे। मैं कहूँगा हमारे समर्थक से ज़्यादा, हालांकि समर्थक पूरा लद्दाख है इस मुद्दे पर लद्दाख के, मगर ये युवा पीढ़ी का बड़ास था, एक तरह का जेन ज़ी रेवोल्यूशन जो कि उनको सड़कों पे लाया। 5 सालों से वो बेरोजगार हैं, एक के बाद एक बहाने करके उन्हें नौकरियों से बाहर रखा जा रहा है और फिर लद्दाख को संरक्षण नहीं दे रहे हैं। मैं हमेशा बोलता आया हूं कि ये नुस्खा है समाज में अनरेस्ट का, सोशल अनरेस्ट का, कि आप बिना काम काज के युवा को रखें और उनके जो लोकतांत्रिक अधिकार हैं उनको भी छीन लें।
Now, the demands are quite simple here by those protesters and people of Ladakh largely. At least Wangchuk claims that this is an agitation across caste, religion, groups, political parties. All people of Ladakh want these demands. And those are: restore statehood so Ladakhis can govern themselves, place Ladakh under the 6th schedule to safeguard tribal rights, a separate public service commission to create jobs, and 2 seats in the parliament instead of 1 that was given earlier for a stronger voice in the centre, or rather in Delhi. Now, talks with the centre were scheduled for October 6th. Sonam Wangchuk now wants this dialogue to be preponed in light of these violent protests before at least any more blood spills on the streets. Now, we hear that the BJP has responded as protests unfolded. You had Amit Malviya, who claimed that this could be instigated by the Congress, also showing references of a Congress councillor creating havoc there. Sonam Wangchuk has also responded. I'm going to take you through what the BJP and Sonam Wangchuk, the environmentalist who has now become the poster face for this agitation in Ladakh, had to say in response.
किसी को ऐसा अनुमान नहीं था कि आज के जैसा कुछ होगा। अचानक से हजारों में निकल के आए और इस तरह का एक नजारा बना। ये सिर्फ कुछ ही युवाओं का या ऐसा नहीं था, इसमें बच्चियां, स्कूल की लड़कियां, कॉलेज की लड़कियां, मंक्स जो भिक्षु हैं वो भी आके बाहर भिड़ने लगे पुलिस से। तो ये एक तरह का बड़ा सी था। कुछ लोग ये सोच रहे थे कि ये किसी पार्टी का किया कराया है, तो कोई पार्टी लद्दाख में ऐसा इतना वो नहीं रखता है ताकत या शक्ति की इतने 4-5 हजार युवाओं को ऐसे निकाल पाए। तो ये सिर्फ युवाओं का एक बढ़ास था जो आज निकल के आया।
All right, well, Sonam Wangchuk there responding to BJP, who says that this was instigated by the Congress. He says no, Congress party has no influence in Ladakh. They are not capable of mobilizing 5,000 people to come on the streets like that. This is nothing but protesters there frustrated over 5 years of wait for a statehood, and they claim that many of them are jobless. They don't have a proper job. Basically, there's nobody to govern the area the way they want it to be. Let me quickly bring in our panelists here. Pongchok Stobdan, founding president of the Ladakh International Centre, joining us live. We also have Desh Deepak Verma, constitutional expert and former Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha. I really appreciate both of you for joining us. Pongchok, let me start with you on this. For 5 years, Ladakhis have been protesting peacefully, but today the protests turned so violent, 4 people have died. Where do you believe this level of frustration has come from? We understand 5 years is a long wait, but while they were protesting so peacefully, and the government also given a word, Amit Shah had given a word that October 6th, there will be a discussion on all their demands. Why couldn't this wait? I'm not saying this is justified, but it seems like they've lost patience before that.
Well, I don't think it's about the date. This has been brewing for quite some time in the last 3-4 years. And people have been protesting. They have, very important to understand that Ladakhis have no issues as such, like people in Kashmir or people in Punjab. They have just small demands. And these demands are administrative demands. It's not even political demand. So I think partly it is the government which has delayed the process of addressing their issues. And secondly, the problem was that the government here, or in Ladakh or elsewhere in the center, they don't just bother about discussing the issue with anybody. Okay, they don't want to discuss with the protesters or the people sitting on dharna, but even otherwise, I don't know who they talk to. Situation was getting worse every day, yet the government is very quiet. I mean, they don't believe in consulting anyone or asking people, the civil society or any other. The BJP also has this. Government has a lot of sympathizer here. Even they are aghast. They don't know what to say. So it's just that there is a vacuum here. As a result, the situation has become very bad, and it's very unfortunate. We have lost a lot of young boys and girls. Maybe about 6, 7 or maybe 10.
Wangchuk says 5 people have died.
Yeah, possibly more. But this is very, very unfortunate.
What's typically the age group of these protesters, sir? We're looking at young people there. We don't want to be calling them Gen Z because this is not the kind of inspiration we want to take from Nepal. But it appears that Wangchuk saying exactly that these are young people, Gen Zs, it's a Gen Z protest. Now, we're just hoping this doesn't turn into an uprising like we saw in Nepal.
Yeah, but some speeches were made about Nepal, some reference was made, but I don't think the Ladakhis would like to go the Nepalese way. Nepal has an international dimension, but here it's just a local issue, not even a local issue, it's a local demand. I think some kind of a sanity, some kind of a, this is really disproportionate that people have lost. The talk should resume very soon, and they should not only talk to this team that is going to MHA, but also the larger society, which I'm sitting in Leh right now, and I feel that there is a gap between the government and the people here.
Do you believe Leh Ladakh is being gripped by unemployment, that people have no jobs, and that's what's driving the anger? That's what Sonam says.
Yeah, I mean, look, for last 5 years, the seats have not been filled. There's slots of various government seats or teacher or medical, police and other things. But, that was mainly because the system was not created here. New laws have come into being. We were part of J&K and the recruitment process was not there. Secondly, we don't have a board, the selection board. So all these things, I think MHA has taken a little more time. And this should have been, either the J&K system should have continued for some time, till you have your own system created here. As a result, I think a lot of unemployment has come. Proportionally, I don't know how much unemployment is, but recently I heard some 30,000, 40,000 people are looking for jobs here and there. So,
Number for the population of Ladakh.
Pardon?
For the population of Ladakh, that is a big number.
Yeah, I know it's a 1.8 lakh or maybe less than 2 lakh. But altogether, we are about 3 lakhs. Partly, some people are in Kargil also. You have a 2 district, and altogether must be about 3. So out of that, maybe 40,000 could be a big number. I don't know.
It is a big number. But my question to you before I go to our constitutional expert, there's a lot of talk that this could be instigated, external influence. The BJP says Congress is instigating. What's your observation as someone who's from there, who knows the thick of it? What's your observation? Do you believe that this is internal unrest breeding within the community there, the ethnic communities, or could this be instigated? So your take. Yeah. That was for you. I'll go to Mr. Deepak Verma next.
It is for me?
Yes.
Well, this is something which nobody will comment, because whether it's been instigated or not, some investigation should take place, some inquiry should take place. I just heard the governor speaking right now. He's trying to find out the details, but he also hinted that we know who are the people who have instigated. So I am not able to comment, because I live in an environment where I would not like to make things worse.
Yeah.
Giving you wrong information.
Yeah.
So I'm very cautious about making statement, just because the situation was very bad in the afternoon. I was in a hospital when I saw all the shots being fired. The gunshots, or maybe smokes. So this is unprecedented. I have not seen this kind of thing in my life, in my place. Some years ago, 3 people were killed, but that was partly because they were running away and the police had to fire or something like that. But this situation is a direct confrontation between the supposed to be a youth and the police. And recently, I think the government has deployed maybe a battalion of CRPF. Maybe less than a month, this have been brought from outside, maybe from Kashmir or Jammu. That has created some kind of a tension in the minds of people. Look, the government has sent a lot of paramilitary to crush us. So that may have aggravated. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this area. I'm an international.
Are protests still on, sir? Are protests still on?
Are they? No. There's a curfew now.
Okay.
Not curfew, section 144.
Okay.
So people cannot come out,
in groups,
more than 4 people or something like that.
Let me bring in Mr. Deepak Verma on that as a constitutional expert, sir. People in Ladakh, the population, as sir has also said, barely 3 lakhs. 3 lakh population, Ladakh wants a separate state. And they've been demanding this for the last 5 years, ever since the abrogation of Article 370. And situation has gone out of hand for the first time, and it upsets us as a country, Ladakh being so integral and part of India, to see this section of the society there going against the government, the central government, burning the BJP office. It's sad. Give us a little sense of what this demand really means in terms of the constitution, and what will it restore for them that union territory has not given?
Well, firstly, that you are very right that Ladakh is one part of the country everybody was in love with. It's a tourist destination. People used to like to go to that place and actually live there.
Yeah.
And it used to be part of their very memorable experience. It seems now that things have not actually turned out the way it was visualized and it was thought to be. But the fact remains that when the Article 370 was abrogated, no such promise of a separate statehood was given. Not even the inclusion in the 6th Constitution, in the 6th schedule, this was not promised, but this was being considered by the government, and there was a date scheduled for discussion, which was on 6th of October. So I think people should have waited for that to happen. But sometimes when people get wrong impressions, when people feel, as somebody said, that more army was brought in, so it was thought that it is to suppress them. It is not necessarily true, but sometimes such impressions are created. Somebody also talked about the unemployment. So unemployment, poverty, these are the problems of the country. These are the problems which we are tackling, and we have tackled the problem in a big way all over the country. I don't have the statistics of comparing the unemployment in Ladakh with the rest of the country presently. But my brief point is that we should have waited, because when a new system comes in, a new state was the body was created, and centrally ruled region was created. So there are times it takes time to actually replace the systems. But probably we must have thought more, like somebody suggested, that we could have continued the old rules for employment, for recruitment, etc., till we can make a new rules. That may be true, but I am quite sure that the government will have a look into these things. And by the 6th October meeting, which I hope will
So the
take
meeting
place
might not happen earlier because of this kind of protest and pressure?
6th October is not very far, you see, because there may be emergency meetings to tackle the law and order. But if you want to settle the problems which are deep rooted, and you have to do deep thinking into what needs to be done, that needs some time. So maybe 6th October meeting will stand, but I am really not privy to that. It could be preponed as well.
You know, they also ask for 6th schedule to protect their tribal rights. So that right now is only limited to 4 northeastern states. Do you believe it's legally feasible to be extending this to Ladakh?
It is very much feasible in the sense that it is within the rights of the government and the parliament, so it can be done. Whether it is doable, what would be the consequences of this? All that the government will have to think. What has been the experience in the states like Assam and Meghalaya, where this has been done, schedule has been brought in.
Yeah.
So all that will have to be looked into, and then probably a decision will be taken.
Okay. Right. Mr. Pangchuk, your take on the violence today. Do you believe that the days of fast that Sonam Wangchuk carried out today falls, actually he falls behind now after all that silent protest and agitation he pulled off? Could have had a good effect on the government. Now it seems like it almost looks like a threat. Do you believe that this has weakened the case of people of Ladakh, or in your view, do you feel that the center might concede faster?
I just heard from the leaders of this movement. There is a movement of Ladakh People's Movement or something, which has an apex body, Ladakh apex body. The veteran leader of that body, Mr. Thuptan Sehang, who was a former MP, just announced that somebody from Delhi is coming to Leh tomorrow. So earlier the news was that some people will go to Delhi, but instead I think somebody is coming from Delhi to Leh to see how this situation can be normalized. I don't know, the talks will be rescheduled, as Mr. Wangchuk wants this to be held earlier than 6th October. That I don't know, it will be government's decision how they look at the situation. But yes, I think serious discussion. I see a lack of communication. I think it's because of lack of communication between the people and the government. And we have an MP who's from Kargil area. I don't know who he communicates with, but he's from an opposition. He's not a BJP leader. So there are all kind of issues here. As a result, I don't see communication properly, and the government doesn't believe in talking to anyone.
Final word from you itself, since you're right at the epicenter, Mr. Pangchuk. What really are the issues in Ladakh? We know that it's a very sensitive ecological region. People feel that they have no right on their own land. They're not able to decide for themselves and their future. It's a small population, but they feel that they're given no rights for themselves, and it's a tribal population all the more. So they feel that they should also be treated similar to states like Arunachal, etc.
No, this is not my opinion, but I often hear from the government people or maybe in people in Delhi that to have statehood for Ladakh is not viable. It just, you can't give a state to 3 lakh people, you know. There is a criteria, you know, and they look at the economy, they look at the population, they all kind of stuff, criteria. I'm sure a lot of states have been created in the last 30, 40, 50 years. What the argument which the other side gives, the government side gives, is that Ladakh is not part of Northeast, 6th schedule is specifically for Northeast, and 6th schedule comes under the tribal law. So there are complicated arguments.
They're 97% tribals.
No, they are scheduled tribe, not tribal. Tribal is something else, scheduled tribe is something else.
Yeah, give us the difference. Then why do they want to be part of the 6th schedule then?
They are demanding, they want to be part of the 6th schedule because it has a full-fledged tribal area declaration. I mean, once you are a scheduled tribe...
They basically are not tribals but want the benefits of the tribals.
Then you are autonomous. You go to Bodoland, the Bodos have the autonomy to run their own government. So no, but this is not Bodoland. The government says this is a border area. You know, Bodoland doesn't border with China.
So the fact that it's a border area all the more makes it sensitive for the government to give it complete statehood is also an aspect.
I think the government is in a dilemma whether to give at the border area. You know, the government also has certain concerns.
Correct.
It's not that people belong to government to the border area. Therefore, you should give this. Government should be will be far more cautious.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this, but that's the government argument, which I've seen here and there, why they don't want to consider. And secondly, you know, all this kind of autonomy which previous regimes have been giving, 370, 371, here and there, you know, inner line permit. This government has been withdrawing all this kind of provisions. They say one government, one constitution, one rule. Now, these are the things which, you know, you can't separate all these things away from the national politics.
But there should be a middle ground if Ladakhis are feeling slighted and they want to be up.
That's for the government to think. If the government wants to have a middle ground, it's very good. I mean, we will offer that.
But do you have anything in mind? Maybe Mr. Deepak Verma can bring in a last word from you, Mr. Deepak Verma. What could be the middle ground? If no statehood for a population of barely 3 lakh, they are not a tribal community. They are scheduled tribe, but not tribals. There's a difference. So can they be given the 6th schedule amendment? Can they get the benefits of the 6th schedule? They are a border area. In fact, giving statehood to a border area also will mean national security implications. So what could be the likely middle ground?
You see, the statehood is out of question for the simple reason that it's a small area, a small population. So statehood cannot be granted. It is not practical. It is not doable. Otherwise, in different parts of the country, people will start demanding it. Now, the question is of the 6th schedule. Now, true that the way it is worded, it has in fact, I was just now having a look at it. It uses the phrase tribal areas. So that could be a problem, but I have a feeling that some middle ground could be found. What exactly would it be? I think it is, we'll have to discuss it with the government people. They must be having some thought. The reason and the call of the hour is that we should find that middle ground sooner than later.
Yeah. I appreciate both of you. Thank you very much, Mr. Deepak Verma and Mr. Ponchok Stopdan for joining us. We will very closely be tracking developments coming in from Ladakh. Thank you for now. A quick break. We'll be right back with our top story on the builder bank Nexus. The Supreme Court giving a very welcome judgment on filing 6 more additional cases by the CBI. We take you through details on that with our experts. Stay with us.
पापा इससे पहले जो चलाई थी वही ले ले।
चलती बढ़िया है। कुछ कह रहे थे?
नहीं, इनकी सर्विस पे डाउट था ना
सर। ओवर 300 टच पॉइंट्स, 170 cities.
पर इन्हें सिर्फ 25 ही साल हुए हैं।
तुमसे तो ज्यादा ही है।
Skoda Fan Fest is live. Walk in today for a test drive and avail exciting benefits.
Skoda.
स्पेशल पार्टनर लायरा वुमेन्स वेयर, लेगिंग्स वो जो लायरा हो। फिलिप्स, सोने पे सुहागा। पोलो एलिवेटर्स, स्मार्ट भारत की स्मार्ट लिफ्ट।
She'll leave when she has a kid. Does she even want this? Women don't scale companies.
She's okay for support roles.
When do we stop asking if she's ready?
Women-led development is the panacea for the world.
All right, welcome back. Let me cut across to our top story here on the CBI probing builder bank Nexus, a struggle for many home buyers for years now. Seems like there's some light at the end of the tunnel. In a landmark step, the Supreme Court has cleared the CBI to file 6 more FIRs in the builder bank Nexus probe, adding to the 22 cases already underway. In fact, the scam that spans Mumbai, Bengaluru, Kolkata, Mohali, Prayagraj and NCR. The modus operandi worked like this. Banks leased loan amounts straight into builders' accounts under subvention schemes. Builders promised to pay EMIs until the flats were handed over to the buyers. But when the builders defaulted, the banks then turned to the home buyers and said, you pay the EMIs, even before they actually had the home in their hands. Now, projects remain incomplete for decades almost. Many of the builders there have faulted. Families have ended up paying those EMIs. They're under loans now and paying rent of their own house that they're living in. And no home to show really. And they've been struggling for years. And finally, this case has been handed over to the CBI. The CBI has already done its investigation primarily. And now additionally, apart from the 22 cases filed earlier, another 6 the Supreme Court has directed the CBI to file. In fact, the bench, including Justices Suryakant, Ujjal Bhuyan and N. Koteshwar Singh, have noted that 8 lenders and home financiers were named in amicus Rajiv Jain's report. And those include, I'm going to list them, India Bulls Housing Finance, PNB Housing Finance, Diwan Housing Finance, HDFC, ICICI Bank, L&T Housing Finance, Aditya Birla Housing Finance and Yes Bank. Now, developers like Supertech, particularly at the center of this, being accused of raising nearly 5,157 crores through banks and institutions since 1998. Supertech has actually raised this amount, but many of the apartments still not handed over to the rightful buyers. Its dealings with Corporation Bank, IDBI Bank, Punjab Sindh Bank, Indian Bank and Punjab National Bank are all currently under probe. Supreme Court has called this a systematic fleecing of home buyers, a nexus of builders and financiers thriving on broken promises. Will the expanded CBI probe now finally stop the harassment of home buyers? What are the warning signs to watch out for before buying a home? Pankaj Gupta, JP Homebuyer, joining me live. He's in fact been protesting for many, many years. Akshay Srivastava, advocate on record, Supreme Court of India. Amit Raj Jain, real estate expert and founder, Oram Colonizers and Stride Home Build. Let me start with the homebuyer himself, Mr. Pankaj Gupta. Are you part of the protesting group? Have you also been cheated in this manner? How long have you waited?
So, ma'am, after I booked my home around 2011 and now we are in 2025. Now, whatever you are asking me, this seems to me like a joke. I am here as a victim home buyer. So, I cannot say anything more than that. So, had I been got possession of my house till to date, I would have said something has shown light. But today, still we are struggling with same thing.
So, are you paying EMIs?
My question is, where that money has gone?
Yeah.
Yes, I am paying EMI and my only 50 EMI has been remaining. After 4 years, I'll be out of EMI.
My God.
And I do not know whether within next 1 or 2 years I'll get possession. I'm still dicey.
For 4 years, you've paid EMI to which bank?
For 11 years,
From
2011,
11 years you've paid EMI to ICICI Bank. 11 years you've paid EMI.
Sorry, ma'am. Correct. No. Let me correct. From 2011, I am paying EMI. In next 4 years, it will be over.
So,
I will finish all EMI.
So you have been paying for nearly 15 years already. Another 4 years, roughly 20 years.
Another 4 years left. That's it. And after that, bank will say bye bye.
Did you not resist? Did you not resist when the bankers said that?
Yes, ma'am.
When the builders told you that they are the ones who are going to pay the EMI, you don't have to pay the EMI until the home comes to you. Why did you buckle?
Ma'am, I am very simple common man. I stopped EMI in between, and I had to face few representative of banks who approached me and came with so many terms and conditions, and I had to revive EMI. And even I paid fine and all charges of not paying those EMIs, which I stopped.
I feel terrible, sir. I'm really sorry to hear that. And I really hope that you get your apartment and you get double the compensation for your struggle and wait.
Just for your viewers, my daughter was toddler when I booked this home, and today she is going to attempt 12th examination, and just few days before she told me, can I go and see what is this structure you are talking about from last 10-15 years.
And this is JP.
Yes, it is JP, and I thought JP was one of the best builder in NCR when I booked it.
This is just so tragic and sad, Akshay Srivastava, if you want to come in on this, how did banks and financiers clear such massive loans in the first place without monitoring builders' repayment capacity? Either this looks like a complete fraud that builders like Supertech and a few others had a name in the market. So I can assume why the banks believed in them and gave them that kind of loan. So this only makes me believe that this was a fraud right from the word go. That allegedly Supertech had in mind to take that money and never to deliver.
You're absolutely correct on that aspect, that yes, the banks have actually disbursed the total amounts. Now, if you see the RBI guidelines, now the guidelines says which the banks are it's mandatory for the banks to follow. It says that the bank, before disbursing even a single rupee as a bank loan, they are supposed to conduct their own due diligence. They have to make sure that there's a viability, and there has to be construction linked plans. Now the banks, without any due diligence, without any architect's report, without any verifying the stage of the constructions, at the request of the builder, have directly disbursed these amounts. Now Mr. Gupta's condition is absolutely correct. Now please see his condition today. Today he is also almost 4 years more, and he'll be out of the bank loan is gone, but he still doesn't have the property in his possession. Now that's the same condition for every single home buyer as of today. Why the Supreme Court had to interfere? Because it was a public issue. The court, ideally High Court, should have interfered in all this, but the High Court did not interfere, said that you have alternate remedies. RERA does not govern the bank actions. So banks have absolutely flouted. RBI took no action against the banks. That was a most shocking thing for all of us. Why did the RBI remain as a mute spectator? Why the government would remain as a mute spectator despite RERA coming in 2016? We are in 2025. Maximum projects, almost more than 40 projects are under investigation as of today. So there are serious lapses and still no actions are being taken. The investigation, of course, that is...
No, I just want to know, should we have hope? Now, home buyers, I've been saying in my story as well that one step closer to justice, a light at the end of the tunnel, etc. Am I really jumping the gun? Do you believe that the CBI probe will crack down on these builders? Will they be liable to pay back all that money? Or is it easy for them to just, raise their hands and say we're bankrupt now? No money to give back.
No, see, the court is also looking towards a solution. See, we all know that there's of course a problem. We also need to figure out what the solution is. At the end of the day, the banks are also dealing with the public money, right? So the solution is, of course, the pre-EMIs, EMIs, whatever the buyers have given. See, it's very difficult to get it back from the banks. Ideally, they must return it back to the home buyers because that was not their liability in the first place. So they need to adjust these things. See, the similar situation arose in Unitech, Amrapali cases also. Supreme Court stopped the banks from taking any action against any of the home buyers. Supreme Court said till the time the possession is not given to these home buyers, no bank will take any action against the home buyers. Right? So similar approach has to be there. Now, whatever amounts are remaining, there has to be some monitoring that needs to be done for completion of these projects. So the primary responsibility of any authority, RERA, being it RERA or any other authority being appointed by the courts, they need to strictly monitor that whatever money is still left to be paid by the home buyers or the banks, they need to utilize it absolutely only for the construction purpose, not for any other purpose.
Well, I'm sure they're going about living their life. Maybe Amit Jain could fill us in on that. You're a real estate expert. Mr. Amit Jain, could you list out the names of these companies that are still thriving after defrauding lakhs of their buyers? They're still going about doing their business. They may be pretending to have no money or they don't have money. I'm not too sure what the reality is. But the fact is that they still exist. They're still building. They're still selling. They're still in the market. Is that true?
Well, yes, there are a lot of builders who are still operating, and let's first go into the genesis of this problem. This started about 15, 17 years ago. It is the banks that came in with this subvention scheme. Builders never went to banks for subventions. Builder lapped it up. Wow, there's somebody who's coming in saying, okay, I will give you money on behalf of the buyer. Now listen. If bank has to lend to a developer, they will do 100 types of due diligence. His financial capacity, everything, so many things that are done. Because here the bank has to recover money. In the subvention scheme, it is the beauty of the scheme is this, that one rich man asks for money from another rich man saying, if I don't pay you, this is a poor man standing right next to me, he will pay you. So this is a marriage of convenience. So I think the biggest culprit in this is the bank. And the second culprit is the builder who actually defaulted in this whole thing that he didn't deliver. Now I'll tell you what, this whole scam is now coming out because of the fact that builder defaulted. Imagine had builder not defaulted in this, scam scheme, this scheme would have been going on forever. Nobody would have come to know that this is happening. How and why banks are lending to developers whom they are not sure of delivering. And if they're so sure of they were delivering, why they're asking the EMI from the home buyer? They should recover that money from the developer. For home buyer, it is a double whammy. Ghar bhi nahi mila, and he has to pay EMI on top of it. Rent bhi de raha hai, EMI bhi de raha. So there are a lot of developers, I'm sure, still doing it. The names, I'm sure, we can figure out the names as well. But I think the Supreme Court has to come out really hard on these lenders because it is the lenders who are supposed to check the financial capability of a developer in returning the money or delivering the product.
Mr. Gupta, your word on this. Is there what are the measures that the home buyers are trying to take? We know that complaints, multiple of them filed. Supreme Court is now on this. Your case will be set as example. But any guidelines that these authorities have given you as home buyers, or promises, assurances? Has anything come your way right now? And what is the decision that you all as a community who've been defrauded taken? How you will pursue this?
See, right now what is happening, like this thing through Supreme Court, we are welcoming this, but whole ecosystem requires some overhauling, and I would use a word like a surgical strike is to be done on such system, because it is not only 50 people are getting impacted, it is lakhs of people getting impacted. Each one buyer like me, my whole family is getting impacted, and you see it is a multiple impact, multiple people are getting impacted, and we individually cannot say anything because we have said so much through every channel. We have met everybody, we have met ministers, we have gone to authorities, we have written letter to PMO office, everything. I can show you my email box. It is full with all those things. But now something different has to be done to stop this. And for future, this all things should be stopped, because my 20 years have gone. Now today I'm 50. I was 35 when I booked home. So all my 15 years where I could actually grow more faster, that is gone. Now I have to slow down and get settled down in my job also. You understand what is impacting? It is not impacting financially. My growth is also stopped because I have to pay EMI, and I am afraid if I lose job, who will pay EMI?
Yeah.
So something different has to be happen. So we are out of idea what to be done. Truly, once again, I'll say it every day now. Earlier we used to get, depressed. Now it feels like a joke. We booked a home 15 years ago and still we don't have anything in hand.
All right, Mr. Jain, a final word from you on what, as a Supreme Court advocate, would you want to advise to these home buyers on what fate to keep, what hopes to have? We know Supreme Court has taken this matter, so there seems to be at least some headway in the case, but how long, in your view, cases like this take for buyers to find justice?
For cases like this, even the court has remarked that they are going to take it on a rotational basis, monthly basis. That is the reason why it's being listed time and again. So, and everything has to be done in a time-bound manner. If you see even the previous order, the 7th preliminary inquiry, so they did not leave it to the CBI to complete it. Rather, they said you please complete it within 6 weeks. So the court, day one, has categorically made it clear that they are supervising and everything has to be done in a very time-bound manner. It's good that yes, the Supreme Court is taking these actions, and definitely by this year end, we are hoping that we'll have some solution to the problem.
All right. Well, we're really hoping for the solution to come about at the earliest, but I really appreciate all of you joining us on this. A final word, Mr. Amit Jain, do you want to stress that the buyers should have faith that money will come back? And I hope at least new buyers or new builders right now are following guidelines imposed by the authorities.
As much as I would like to be hopeful, but I don't see any solution in the short term.
Yeah.
Supreme Court will have to really come hard and form some sort of a solutionary, some magic has to appear so that these guys get their homes. Now, in future, I think what RERA has to step in and, see the track record of the builder before they are allowed sale. So if a builder has been habitually delaying the projects, let him not sell before he completes 50%. If a builder is, habitually, he's a little better, let him not sell till he completes 20%. Only A-grade builders who have been delivering on time should be allowed to sell before start of construction. There has to be some solution. But I don't think so anybody is interested in solution. They only come in when the fire has already come in. We just want to put out the fire. There's no point. One should be vigilant enough. We have so many bodies. We have courts. We have RERA. I mean, I'm surprised. Nobody's looking at it. Still builders are coming in. Still promises are being made. Still being sold at high prices. Earlier, the promises were 3 years. Now the promises are 5 years. What will happen after 5 years? We can be sitting here, maybe talking like this again.
All right. You know, we're really praying and we're hoping that those like Mr. Pankaj Gupta really find relief at the earliest, and they should be doubly compensated for all the torture and, struggle that they had to endure for the last 2 decades. I really appreciate all of you joining us on this. Thank you. All right, let me quickly cut across to our top stories on day tonight. Let's start with Baba, a priest in Delhi who's been arrested for molestation. He's been accused of molesting multiple women who went to him for spiritual intervention. Story of a man in a saffron robe, Partha Sarathi, who called himself Swami Chaitanyananda Saraswati. He, in fact, built his image itself as a guru, but used it to exploit women and intimidate them. He's targeted poor students, offering marks, foreign trips and promises of a better life to these girls. Of course, over 16 years, 5 criminal cases exposed his pattern. Molestation in Delhi in 2009, harassment in his ashram in 2016. Most recently, a complaint of 17 girls that has been registered against him in August alone. He sent some obscene WhatsApp messages, lured many girls with promises of trips abroad. So this has been his modus operandi. More than 50 phones were checked and messages were all wiped out. So it seemed like it was a ploy to actually use his stature as a spiritual guru and then lure women in and molest them, and promises of giving them jobs, taking them on foreign trips. We know this modus operandi, and this man has managed to thrive for much over 2 decades. Victims lived in fear. We hear that Baba, on the other hand, enjoyed quite a luxury life. He had a Volvo with a fake diplomatic number plate, bogus UN number. The car wasn't in his name either. Raids in Rajasthan, Delhi, Haryana, UP and Uttarakhand has exposed his full network. His last trace was in Agra. So the man has been absconding, and we're looking at cops now on the hunt for this very man you see on our screens. All right, let me cut across to the digital arrest. A very sad story coming to light from Delhi. Chilling new cybercrime trend that's tearing through India. Digital arrest of Naresh Malhotra. In the latest, Naresh Malhotra, 78-year-old, a retired banker from Delhi, was trapped for 47 days inside his home, convinced that he was under 24/7 surveillance. Cyber criminals, in fact, posed as NIA and ED officers and bled him dry of 23 crores. It all began with a call we hear where they asked for his Aadhaar, and landline was used in a terror case, saying that his landline was used in a terror case. In fact, fake charge sheets, forged arrest warrants and staged video calls followed, with Malhotra there being told that Malhotra was told that he has to cooperate. If not, he will face 6 months in jail. And in fear, he liquidated all his stocks and broke deposits and sold his assets and transferred crores of rupees into accounts of those fraudsters. Now remember, he's not alone. Preeti Sudhakar lost 14 lakhs. Industrialist SP Oswal lost about 7 crores. Ex-army officer Dalip lost 3.4 crores. This is just, and Preeti Sudhakar seems like she is the wife of Mr. Sudhakar, BJP leader, MP in Karnataka. The pattern is chillingly familiar. Scamsters there posing as officials on the phone line, accusing these victims of either being involved in a drug racket or a terror racket, that their phone lines have been used, so you pay up, if not you will be arrested for that crime and whatnot, and they fall for it. And mostly older people who are being targeted. We're looking at this fraud that's consumed nearly 2,400 Indians who've all been lured across different parts of the country. And the worst is, you have Indians itself sitting abroad and carrying out this scam, mostly in Southeast Asia countries, like multiple countries where these Indians have been hired. A lot of them have been bullied into actually doing this job, but they're actually defrauding fellow Indians. So this is Shocking, where digital arrests now are being carried out, where they ask for your Aadhaar, your OTP, and completely access and control your life for months together until you pay up. All right, cutting across to India, that's seeing a sharp rise in flu-like illnesses driven mainly by the H3N2 strain of influenza A. Now, what began in Delhi NCR is now spread across the country, affecting thousands. A recent survey shows around 70% of households in Delhi, Gurugram, Noida, Faridabad and Ghaziabad report at least one member with high fever, cough, sore throat or fatigue. Experts warn that H3N2 outbreak is more severe than usual, with symptoms often lasting over 10 days. And we hear that large parts of Delhi has been infected by this. H3N2, which is a subtype of influenza A, spreads through respiratory droplets and contaminated surfaces. It causes high fever, chills, sore throat, body aches, fatigue, and sometimes even nausea and diarrhea. Most healthy adults recover within a week, but the children are vulnerable, and it could really lead to worse situations to people elderly with chronic conditions already. So pneumonia is one such case that it's leading to. Hospitalizations are rising, though most cases can be managed at home through rest, hydration and symptom care. But now's the time to keep a watch, because H3N12 seems to be on the rise. Precaution is key. Use a mask, be hygienic, sanitize your hands, avoid crowded spaces, similar to that what we saw during the COVID period, but follow it. All right, let me cut across to big story in Telangana. The spotlight on pizzas and pizza chains in Telangana. Telangana Food Safety Department has carried out statewide raids inspecting 55 pizza outlets in Telangana, across Hyderabad particularly, and other districts. What they found should really worry every Indian consumer. Out of those 55 outlets, 24 were flagged for serious violations. That's nearly half of them. And it's not just the neighborhood pizzerias. International giants like Pizza Hut, Domino's, brands that really pride themselves on global standards, were all found cutting corners right here in India's Hyderabad. At Pizza Hut, 8 out of 18 outlets were pulled up with mismatched licenses, veg and non-veg stored together, unclean machinery, and even freezers running at wrong temperatures. Now, Domino's fared even worse, as 10 out of 16 outlets were pulled up for violations, expired licenses in place, like Nizamabad, pest control that was overdue there, staff working without gloves or masks, and no segregation of vegetarian and non-vegetarian ingredients. Local pizzerias didn't fare much better either, as 6 outlets there were caught using overused oil, running rusty ovens, leaving vegetables uncovered, and operating kitchens even without any basic insect proofing. Hyderabad's Food Safety Task Force raided 10 Absolute Barbecue outlets as well on September 12th, finding rotten food, pests, rat droppings, dirty kitchens, insects and unhygienic storage conditions. Well, Indian consumers there being taken for granted, it appears. International brands not living up to safety standards in India. What next? We're waiting to see. Thanks very much for watching. Stay with us.
Dreaming about me.
Love is to get lost in the look. Unlimit Love B6 Pack 2 starts at 21.9 lakh.
ये बेस्ट है मैम.
पर पहले वाला क्यों नहीं?
अजय भाई! This one's for you. बिरला ओपस एश्योरेंस देने के लिए.
ऐसा क्या है इसमें?
एडवांस क्वालिटी. 1 साल में पेंट को कुछ भी हुआ तो पेंटिंग वापस करके देंगे.
वापस करके देंगे.
वो भी free.
पटेल भाई, you're a rock star.
क्वालिटी पे इतना कॉन्फिडेंस, इसलिए बिरला ओपस एश्योरेंस रजिस्टर करो birlaopus.com पर.
Curves that turn heads. Intelligent touches that excite. Presenting the sleek and smart all-electric VF6 from VinFast. India price starts at 16.49 lakhs.
From boots on the ground to bots up there in the space. India's armed forces. Then you've got nuclear boosts. Is this finally going to address our problem in Ladakh, let's say, against China? As we break it down exclusively on News 9. Let's reconstruct the horror. It slams into a divider and collides with the couple's bike. When justice matters, influence can be dead. We're turning the spotlight on a silent killer. If you're not scared right now, comfort today could mean catastrophe tomorrow. But Bengaluru is not alone in this plight. A top CEO has ripped into the city's mess. And if you buy a majestic car, you will end up feeling the pothole. Is this really democracy? Is this dysfunction? Nepal has seen 13 prime ministers in 15 years, more than 25 governments in 3 decades, and a generation that now feels democracy has delivered only corruption and chaos.
Breaking news. Major disruption is expected this week.
Yes, disruption confirmed. That's me. Relax, no scams, just my brand new show, News Cosmic with Cyrus.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.